Hey, we're Gerald and Tabby, married over 22 years.
And still choosing each other on purpose.
We're definitely better together.
We've been through addictions, infidelity, open adoption, financial crisis, and each other.
She's the drama.
And he's the calm most of the time.
We're not experts, and we're definitely not licensed therapists. But we've learned a lot the hard way, and we're not afraid to talk about it.
For too long, we walked through our struggles alone, but that's not how God designed marriage or life.
This is where we get real about marriage, faith, and the messy stuff no one warns you about after you say, I do.
We call out the bad advice, the fake perfection, and the things that just don't work out in real life. So if you want polished, we're not it.
But if you're looking for honest, then welcome. This is I Still Do.
So we're living together blissfully. And by blissfully, I mean blissfully unaware of your double life. And you're trying to hold on to your double life at this point.
So you're blissfully unaware of my...
Yeah, I think...
But in your perspective, how much is my double life really interrupting you?
It's not at this point, right? Okay. I don't think it is. I think, okay, so we have to put it in context that I'm 19 years old.
Yeah.
Moving in with you. Actually, maybe I'm 18. No, I'm 19 years old.
You had to be 19 because you were 20 on our honeymoon.
Yeah. So I'm 19 moving in with you. You're my first real boyfriend. Because like I said, high school, I just didn't treat my body like a temple. I didn't know no was an option. I did. My parents taught me that. But I never had relationships. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You're my first relationship, first guy that opens the door for me, asks what I'm interested in, isn't always trying to be intimate with me, is having deep, deep conversations that I never had with anybody before. You're truly wanting to get to know me, and I see you valuing me. All at the same time, I think you're living this double life that we could say in quotations, not because you're trying to, but because you're genuinely conflicted, like you said. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm blissfully unaware because I'm in bliss living with you. Now, that doesn't mean I wasn't aware of like some of the shenanigans you were involved in, like strip clubs and going out and drinking. Because remember, my friends were all a part of that too. It was normalized. I wasn't like super against it, right? Because I was just like, this is what young people do. We're young, we're wild, we're free.
Yeah.
That's just kind of how I thought of things. Now, just because I didn't participate in it, I wasn't actively disgusted by it though either. Genuinely. I don't know why I wasn't. I guess because all my friends were involved in these things too. I just didn't know how deep yours was going or how deep it was going to go, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I was blissfully unaware. Until...
Well, I think that, like, wait, let's stay on that for a second.
Okay.
Because I think that's a thing that, or a subject that's hard for some people to understand, that you're okay with, we're not engaged yet.
Right.
But we're close to it. But you're okay with, hey, he goes to strip clubs on these days. He goes to bars with his friends on these days. But there are days that you're going with us too, and we're all kind of all hanging out.
I was always invited.
Yeah.
I was never excluded. I do think you invited me most of the time knowing I would be like, nah.
Yeah.
But I was always invited, which also probably gave me a false sense of security.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, he's not trying to hide anything from me. He's inviting me to these places.
Right.
Hindsight is 20/20. Now I know you knew I'd probably say no.
Well, plus, when you're just meeting someone, you're moving in, or you're engaged, or you're newly married, there is a portion of like I don't want to change anything I'm doing.
Yeah.
It's kind of like what people say when they have their first kid. Nothing's going to change, right? And it's like, and we all
You're like,
laugh now because
everything changes.
everything will change. Because
Yes.
nothing will ever be the same.
Yeah.
And that's what, for me, it's like when we moved in together, I was still trying to keep everything going the way it was. So therefore, like the disconnect was becoming bigger of like the differences in life.
Right.
And I don't remember the word I used last time, but
Oh, neither.
but when you have that much separation and hey, this is I'm fully invested in this moment right now. Switch gears. I'm fully invested in here. People call it departmentalizing sometimes.
Yeah, for sure.
Departmentalizing your whatever. However, that's not what we're called to be. We're called to be these people that are living transparently, authentically, wide open, truthfully, right? Most people do not live that way.
Of course. But also, we're called when we know we're Christians. You weren't even a Christian really at this time. You were in such a place of searching and seeking. Also, I feel like you were almost an atheist until you met me. I think you had obviously grown up in the Catholic Church. You had some form of foundation, but you weren't living that lifestyle of a foundation and having a faith.
Yeah.
I come in, I am kind of living that lifestyle. You see it through my parents, but I'm technically not living it very well either because I'm also engaging in activity that doesn't super say Christian. Although my faith has always been strong. Have I always lived it out according to the way we're supposed to? No. Again, I'm a 19-year-old girl living with her boyfriend in an apartment in Waco.
Yeah.
So
there's like
blissfully unaware.
Yeah,
Because I'm 19. How much
blissfully
can you know at 19?
Yeah.
You know? So to me, everything's going well
Right.
at this point. I'm actually having the time of my life because, like I said, I've always lived at home except for that brief time I went to live with my biological dad, which was sheer chaos, full of drugs and alcohol. I come here, you're not doing that every single night of the week. To me, it's just happening on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So 3 days a week opposed to 7. I'm thinking this is a step up
Right.
from what I just experienced.
Yeah.
And we're not fighting. We're not arguing. We're still having deep conversations. You're, taking me out on dates. We're hanging out with friends.
Well,
Pretty good.
yeah,
this
and
point.
I think it's whenever you find a person that you can kind of have a conversation with, and we had all those conversations before we moved in together, so there was a lot of preemptive things that we were actually working on that we didn't know we were working on. But when you have a long distance relationship and you're talking on the phone all the time, you're communicating, you're dealing with, in that time we didn't have FaceTime, obviously, but you're dealing with, I don't know how this is being taken on both sides. And therefore you're learning how to communicate without any physical interaction or physical presence. I think that's where a lot of that, even now when we have conversations, we just like what we did this morning, we just go drive around and have a conversation for a while because...
Well, our relationship was founded on communication, so it's still very much important to us.
Yeah.
And we communicate often, and we communicate well and effectively.
And that's one thing I've always been amazed by is like all these letters that go around in the Bible, and that's how they communicate it. And it's just, I don't know, that's a whole side deal.
note.
But so I think we're living, we're having some, we're learning each other, learning how to share a bathroom, which we're still learning to this day what that kind of looks like.
Right. My body at this time is also changing rapidly.
Yeah.
Remember, this is when I get on the pill because we're trying not to have a baby before our wedding. And it clearly does not agree with me at all. I'm not realizing this, But I'm also, which is part of the reason why I'm like, when you would invite me to certain places is why I would say no. Because I was uncomfortable with the rapid weight gain. It was literally 40 to 45 pounds, which seemed like in a month. It was insane. And nothing, my lifestyle had not changed.
Yeah.
So hair was falling out, hot flashes. I had no idea that this is when my PCOS and insulin resistance was kicking in. And that wasn't diagnosed till like later. So while I'm going through this, you're loving me so well and constantly telling me how beautiful I am and how attractive you are to me and you love my curves. And I am like thinking, he's got to be lying, you know? Mm-hmm. But you weren't, and you never have when it comes to that. So at the same time, even though in my mind I'm like, he's lying, how could he be attracted to this? Because my body is forever changing. I was a teeny tiny size 2, 4 my whole life. Now I'm in this 10, 12, right? And you're loving me so well through it. So again, I'm blissful because I'm like, oh my gosh, this man like really loves me. I have gained a rapid amount of weight in a little bit of time, and he's treated me no differently. In fact, you've loved me harder through it. You never brought it up. You were never negative. You always told me how amazing I looked. So there's a lot of qualities that I was focusing on that I feel were allowing you to also kind of get away with more things. If that makes sense.
Yeah. No.
Because that's what was going on at this time.
I've heard you explain that too before. At church before when we did that.
Yes, I explained it at church because then you proposed to me at my highest weight on our 1 year anniversary. We've been living together for about 5 months. And then you proposed to me. Beautiful proposal. You take me to Dallas, although you do blindfold me so I don't know which direction we're going, remember? And we're on that circle and you're like, I hope it doesn't look like I'm kidnapping you. I'm like, I think it does. So I had to keep a smile on my face so people would know I wasn't. The roundabout in Waco, the circle. He drove around it like 2 or 3 times to take me to Dallas. So he did. So basically, so I wouldn't know if we were going to Dallas or Austin. But then it didn't work because obviously there's signs along the way of where we're going, and I couldn't have been blindfolded.
Plus,
the whole
I had
time.
to take the blindfold.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I wasn't. It was just a fun little thing, though, on the way to becoming
weird. With the blindfold.
It was. You were like, this didn't go exactly how I planned, but it really makes for a very funny memory, and I remember going in that roundabout and smiling so people didn't think I was being kidnapped.
Then it just looked psycho.
I just look like a psycho and being blindfolded and smiling.
I just remember those times too where it was, you know, like you said, there was a time whenever your confidence wasn't as high. Obviously, you didn't want to go out,
right?
Different things like that. And in those days, I didn't know how not to go out. It was weird. I was getting this kind of acceptance from these places. I just feel like
it was literally your routine. Like it was genuinely a routine for your Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights.
Yeah, because that is true.
And to me, it was exhausting.
When you moved there, I quit the Monday stuff and the Tuesday stuff.
Yes, so to me, I was only seeing, and that's what I thought was normal.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure I really knew the Monday, Tuesday stuff. Maybe you would be like, when we were long distance, you'd be like, I'm going to hang out with Paul tonight or this, but I don't think I knew like the extent of it.
Right.
And then of course, when I moved in, you changed that part to where it was just Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, because we were both working, and I was working with children as a preschool teacher. So I was exhausted at the end of the day spending my full days with 2 and 3-year-olds. It was a lot. But then we get engaged. It was beautiful. You proposed to me. Well, you were going to propose to me at the Reunion Tower restaurant, but you got so nervous beforehand that you proposed in the hotel room.
Well, the thing is, the fear was that you would say no in front of everybody. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not doing this. What if she did say no? Because I'm like...
That's funny.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. That would have been even more.
Yeah. In that beautiful romantic restaurant that's high above Dallas that spins. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was. But it was still perfect. You know why? Because even though it was just in the hotel room, it was so intimate. It was just us.
Yeah.
There was no show. It was truly like, you were like, I could tell you were nervous. I thought I was thinking maybe he's going to propose, but then I was like, I don't know what's going to happen. Because we never actually really had discussions about it. Like, I mean, we just kind of knew we would get married one day. But then you were like, let's get ready for the restaurant. And I was like, okay. And then you were like, hey, sit down in this chair real quick and close your eyes. And I was like, okay. So I sat down and closed my eyes. And so at this point, I actually am not thinking I'm getting proposed to. I'm thinking you're going to give me a necklace or something.
Yeah.
Until my eyes are closed and I hear your knee hit the ground. And I then knew. And then you said beautiful words. We got engaged. We rode up to that reunion tower in that elevator, just giddy, had the best dinner, and I genuinely thought, this is it. This is our new life, and everything is going to be just fine.
Yeah.
And it was until it wasn't.
Well, it's because, again, we're for me, and somewhat you, we're still trying to balance like two things. We haven't really unified in our relationship yet.
No, not at all.
And then,
but this is where I kind of think you freak out a little bit. So we get engaged. It goes really well. I actually moved from childcare to being a manager at Allstate. We both have these. You promoted to manager at McCoy Myers. Like, we both got these big adult jobs. And we work across the street from each other. We're having lunch together and stuff every day. We're actually not partying as much at this point until you get a call inviting you to go camping from that one friend I could
one friend
not
that we won't mention
stand.
the name.
Yeah, won't mention the name.
Yeah.
And that,
because I had stopped hanging out with them.
Yes.
Pretty much all together, and they were the friend group that had the access to drugs and had the access. And I'm not saying they were a little bit of an escape from reality.
Yeah.
I guess would be kind of this thing, but also, and I'm sure people have experienced that, where you have just a group of people that are perceivably friends, but really they're just using you.
Yeah, for sure.
Misery loves company type thing.
Yes, very much so. Also, we started hanging out together back with that friend a little bit before he invited you, because it wasn't out of nowhere, because he got a girlfriend that I really liked. She was great for him. Was he good for her? No.
Right.
However, it gave me hope. I started seeing a different side of him. She was bringing out like a different side. So we were actually hanging out as couples for a little bit, which felt kind of cool, because it's like, oh my gosh, we have this couple, vibe going on that's outside of our normal friends. And so when he invited you to this camping trip, I felt secure in it. Now, I knew he wasn't the best. I knew there was drugs. I knew there was alcohol, but I genuinely thought he was becoming a better person, because didn't he move in with her too?
Oh yeah, they moved in.
Yeah, and I was just, and he seemed to be wanting to straighten out. Like, she really did bring out a great side in him, so I will give him that.
Yeah, but he kept his apartment.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
And she didn't know that, right?
Something like that.
Anyways, so you go on this camping trip, and you can...
Well, I get invited to go to it.
Yeah.
And...
It wasn't really camping. It was a lie. You didn't go
immediately
camping.
Whenever I bring it up to you, like what a lot of people do, like, oh, wouldn't it be fun to go camping? And I'm trying to grease the wheels a little bit without coming out and asking or telling you, because I know...
I'm like, no, I hate camping.
And also, deep down, a lot of people know where they should be and where they shouldn't be. But it's also making this decision, too, based on, like, I don't know what to do.
Right.
And again, like you said, there was a moment where I'm engaged and this stuff is... And for some reason, when things are starting to go really well, it's almost like you're waiting for the other shoe to drop. It's like, well, it can't go this well.
Well, and you had a habit of self-sabotaging yourself. Yeah. Almost like punishing yourself.
Yeah,
it's going too good. I don't deserve this.
And that's the shame guilt cycle.
Yeah.
That kind of goes around, and not knowing, that that's a problem. Mm-hmm. But when you kind of, I mean, just to bring it back to like a faith aspect, it's like when you have no true north, mm-hmm. you're kind of running around, and you became the only person in my life that was kind of the true north. Mm-hmm. And then what happens is that when you are around a person that is encouraging, and when you have a functional relationship, sometimes, like we said the last time with mirrors, it makes you look at yourself, and you really don't want to look at yourself. And there was so much guilt, like looking at you and knowing that I still have internet pornography. Mm-hmm. I'm consistently involved in, right? Consistently still going to drinking, doing these things. Like there's a process of looking at you and feeling like you remind me of the things I'm doing that aren't good.
Yeah.
And that's a weird thing to say, but it is. It's why a lot of people get angry at other people sometimes in the relationship. It's because they're pointing out their fault or the things they need to change. And in those days, if you're a little bit mature, you could take that differently. But for me, I was looking for just an escape. Mm-hmm. So it was almost, I'll say divine, but that's probably not the right word. But
no, I could see why it would be divine.
Yeah. And
for sure.
I get a call, and he invites me. And at that very moment, when he calls, I'm like, yeah, I'm choking. Like, literally, I feel like I'm choking in life at that point. Because I don't know how to handle all of this stuff. But also, I'm willingly participating in all of it. Mm-hmm. I'm doing it. We're getting married. We're living together. I'm trying to build a career, working. I've got people everywhere talking about faith and God and Holy Spirit. And it's like this group of people's kind of just growing up around me. And then it was almost like, I need to get out of this. I need to breathe. Mm-hmm. And I felt like it was a time to go breathe. So I went and I asked you about it. And I remember that you said, no hard drugs. Don't do any hard drugs.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yes, I do. Well, you said, can I go camping? And I said, is it really a camping trip? And you were like, yes, because I felt in my spirit. No, it ain't.
Yeah.
I know you. Also, for those listening, I have an incredible gift of discernment that God has given me. So I knew he was lying when he was leaving. Mm-hmm. I didn't say anything because I'm also one of those people. Who am I to stop your journey? So
well, that's what's different about that's why I always keep circling around the question. I think a lot of people are going to have questions about your side of it because so many men have done this to women, and then it just kind of falls apart right there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So anyway.
I don't know why I am the way I am, but
yeah, it
is how I am. So I knew, and I prayed the whole time you were gone, but I literally said, no hard drug. Mm-hmm. I actually said the words no cocaine.
Yeah.
Because I knew that's what this guy participated in regularly. Mm-hmm. And I said, please don't get so drunk that you can't even remember what you've done. Right. You know? And you're like, oh yeah, no worries. It's just a guy's camping trip. And you leave. And you have to tell the story from here because I can only tell what happens when you come back. Yeah, so
we leave. We go to a town about 4 hours from Waco at that time. And that's our first stop. And it's this particular guy's hometown. And within 2 hours of being there, we've already bought an 8-ball of cocaine, mm-hmm. marijuana, some pills, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And I remember sitting in front of this bar we're fixing to go in, and I'm like, I've already broke the first rule. Yeah. And I'm only 4 hours into this. Mm-hmm. And so therefore, I remember walking into this bar and just being like, I cannot believe I've just broken this, I already done something wrong already, or done something like she asked me not to do, right? And so therefore, that cycles me. And that night, we don't even go to bed. So we go to Del Rio, and you cross the border there to a city called Acuna. I think it's Acuna. And we had a hotel right across the border in this town. And basically this town is just a line of bars that a lot of military people come and party and hang out. This place is always popping kind of thing. Everybody comes from San Antonio and different bases. And then there's a big base there in Del Rio Air Force Base, I think. Anyway, so we start our night. And obviously we're drinking and everything like that. At some point, one of the guys that's with me wants to score some more drugs. I'm freaking out. I'm like, man, we're in Mexico. Like, this isn't like America. Like, we get stuck down here. We can't get back. So, I don't know why I had all that, but some of that's, my parents had put all that in me. Like, you get stuck in Mexico, you're staying there type thing.
Yeah, again, a
back.
foundation.
Yeah, a little bit of a foundation there of a little bit of healthy fear.
Yeah.
So this bar is full of people. But so one of them leaves, he goes, and he's like, well, I'm going to go try to score some stuff. Because there was a guy, like, they're selling drugs always in Mexico. But you can't tell if it's a setup. It's all these things like this. Anyway, so I end up just getting with this group of people, and we're just drinking. And there's probably 20 or 30 of them, right? They invite me back to go to a party.
And they're all the military guys.
They're like a ton of military people.
Yeah.
I have no idea who any of these people are. But again, even to this day, I'm a conversationalist, so I'm just like talking and getting to know people and whatever. Anyway, so they end up inviting me to go back. I'm like, yeah, sure. Why not? Doesn't sound like a bad idea. And at some point in my drunken stupor or state, I think about, oh, let me get my bag in case we don't come back. Like, right? So we had not
That's
even...
always so wild to me, that part of this.
Well, we had not taken our... So the hotel was like, the hotel we were staying at in Mexico was right across the street.
Yeah.
So our bags were still in the back of the truck. We hadn't even taken them in. Like, we literally got out of the truck and just started rolling.
Partying.
And
yeah.
So I went and got my bag, threw it in the back of this truck, and we're in the back of a truck. At this point, I'm like, I have no idea what I've just agreed to. And honestly, a lot of those things are if anybody's ever experienced a drunken state like this, you understand that sometimes these things are a little fuzzy. But we get to the border, and it's people in the cab of the truck, and we're sitting in the back of the truck. We all get taken out of the truck and have to sit in this little place because they're like searching the vehicle for obvious reasons. Luckily, they don't find anything. We all jump back in the truck and we go to this La Quinta Inn where they have numerous rooms, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 rooms, something like that, set aside, and they're all partying. And it's like your jumping rooms kind of thing. And there's drugs, there's alcohol, there's everything. And the night progresses. And like I said, you just forget things. And there are moments where I'm remembering things, but when I wake up that morning, I wake up and I'm sleeping like on a floor next to a lamp. And I remember this lamp, and I'm like, what is going on? There's people sleeping in the bed. There's people sleeping over here. There's like a dude in the tub. It's like off of a movie.
Yeah, it's like a bunch of dudes passed out.
The door is wide open. The door.
To the hotel.
The door's wide open. And I get up and I'm like wiping my eyes and I'm like, where am I? Because I think I'm in Mexico. There's a part of me like, oh, I'm in Mexico. And I kind of step outside and I'm like, I'm at a La Quinta Inn. Like, where the hell am I?
Yeah.
I go back in. I wake up somebody. I'm like, hey, where are we? And they were like mumbling. I was like, hey, how do I get back to the border? And he said, I don't know. You go take a left at the road. Or so. He said something crazy like that. So there's so many things about that where I come out and I see these bags. Like, there's other people's bags too. And I'm like, oh, I brought my bag. So I get my bag and I'm like standing there at the La Quinta Inn right on the front, right by the sign, like a commercial, just standing there. I'm like, the guy said take a right or left, I don't know. And there's a loop that goes around Del Rio. It's really big. And so I was thinking, oh, it's a loop. If I go on one side of it, I'll end up back where I need to be because, right, there is no sane mindset to this.
At that time, extremely hungover at this point.
Hungover. I'm wearing Doc Martens.
Yep.
big 90s jeans, alternative
them
jeans.
Jinko jeans.
Those Jinko jeans. I think I had a corn t-shirt on and a choker necklace. So, and people who know me now would probably not believe that. I
did not approve of those outfits. That he did not wear those around me, just so you know.
I look like, So I start walking down the road, the loop there. I just go right, and you could draw the symbolism you want. I was totally lost and no direction, right? And so I start walking down the road, and it's no cars on the road either, because I'm like, man, there is like nobody on this road. All the stories of my mom going through my head about never pitch up hitchhikers, you'll get murdered down at the border, all these things that my mom said. And I'm like, I'm the hitchhiker. What are people thinking of me, right? I'm walking down the road, and there's one car that just kind of zips by, and I see it kind of do a turnaround, and I am kind of freaking out now because I'm like, what is this car doing? The car turns around, comes up beside me, and rolls their window down, and it's a girl, and she's in her Sunday's best, because this is a Sunday too. This is Sunday morning. I was there on Friday. I left on a Friday, I left on a Saturday, and now it's Sunday. And so she rolls down her window.
Not all the way.
Not all the way.
Just a few inches, yeah.
And she said, "Where are you headed?" And I was like, "I'm trying to get back to the border. I got separated from the people I came down here with." And then she goes, "Okay, give me a second." She's on a cell phone. And so she rolls her window back up, and then she rolls it down again. She goes, "Hey, I will give you a ride, but I'm going to stay on my cell phone for like safety purposes because I don't know you." She goes, "You can put your bag in the trunk." And so I was like, "Oh, great. I'll take a ride anywhere." And so I go, put the bag in the car, I sit in her car. And she's on the phone the whole time. We're not saying anything. And then finally she says something that's like, "Look, I'm taking you somewhere first, and then someone from there will give you a ride to the border. And I'm going to Bible study." I'm like, okay, great. Whatever, right? So we get to the Bible study, like the little area, and it doesn't look like a church. It was called Club 180, Club 180. And there's a guy waiting at the door, and he kind of walks out while we pull up, and I open the door, and he kind of pins the door in between me, and I'm still sitting in the car, and he's kind of pinning, and he starts giving me a third degree. "What are you doing here? Who are you? What's your what's your intentions here?" Like, he's trying to figure out like who I am, basically. And I'm like, "Look, man, I just got separated. I was at partying all night. I don't even know where I'm at. I've got a hangover. I'm just trying to get back. Like, I've been calling my friends all morning. No one's picking up." And he goes, "Okay, look, we're fixing to have Bible study. You're welcome to come in here and help out, or come in here and sit with us. We have donuts, coffee, but we're not going to leave till after that. Or you can just start walking now if you need to." And I was like, "What?" First off, I have no idea where she just drove me.
Right.
So now I'm going to wait, right? And he notices that I'm just like very hesitant. So I was like, "Hey," I said, "I'll just wait out here." And then he's like, "Okay." He gets to the door and he comes back. He said, "Well, we're having a problem with our projector. Do you have any like experience with like computers or anything like that?" I was like, "Oh," and I did. And so I was like, "Yeah, I'll come and look at it." So got me in the door. And of course someone like brings me a coffee and a donut. Like, and I'm like, what have I just got myself into? And I stink. Like, I know I stink.
Oh, yeah. There's probably no doubt.
There's no doubt.
How bad you smell.
I start trying to get the projector to work, and I can't get it to work. And I'm like, "Look, I'm sorry, man. I can't get the projector to work." And he's like, "Yeah, you know what? We don't really need it today." I still don't think they ever needed the projector. I think they were just trying to...
He was trying to get you in the doors.
So then I start leaving. He goes, "Hey, why don't you just hang out in the back or something? You don't have to participate, just so you don't have to wait outside. It's hot, whatever." I was like, "Okay, cool, whatever." And I wait. And while people are flooding in to this place, people are talking to me. He's introducing me. "Hey, this is Gerald. He's lost from his friends." And just like making it really weird. And I'm like, "Okay, cool." And I'm meeting all these people.
More ways than one.
And then so many people have so many questions. So I'm kind of like this weird elephant in the room sitting there.
Stinky elephant.
Yeah. And And so one of the guys comes up to me, he goes, hey, what's your story? Like, whatever. I was like, oh, and I mentioned I'm engaged. And he goes, wow, would your fiance be okay with you being lost in Del Rio? And I was like, probably not. Like, this is not good. This is not a good situation. And anyway, so the guy gets up there, they do some singing and stuff, some weird, awkward worship always, it's kind of funny sometimes. But then he gets up there and starts talking about the realism of hell, realism of our decisions, our choices. And it starts really hitting me because I'm a very vivid dreamer. And I pray through, and I pray through my dreams sometimes, and that sounds a little Holy Ghosty, but sometimes it's just, I have very vivid dreams about things. So one of the things I was having a reoccurring dream was about, I was dreaming about these nails like pulling at my leg and pulling me down, and like hands pulling me. And so therefore, whenever I felt that, I would wake up in these sweats and just be freaking out, like, what was that about? What was that about? Well, then fast forward, here I am in Del Rio, and this guy's giving a sermon over hell and kind of the choices we make and things like that. And he's not making it all about hell, but he's just making it about choices.
Yeah, it's not like fire and brimstone. It's literally just about the choices you make that could lead you to heaven or hell.
Exactly. And so we wrap that up, and the guy's like, okay, we're wrapping up. Let's go. And I jump in his little truck, and we start heading out. I get my bag, put it in the back of his truck. And then so the whole time he's like...
The fact that this bag has made it with you the entire time is so funny to me.
Well, it's like the only thing I had at home, right?
Yeah.
So I kept... And I still do it to this day. I grab something from home, right? And I carry it around with me. Even like when I go to conferences or anything like that, I always carry like a little something. Well, that's the only thing I could think of. Like, I always kept remembering to grab my bag.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, this is my bag. This is the only thing I have that's mine right now.
Right.
In this world right now. Because I have no idea where I'm at. And Del Rio is another world.
Made nothing but bad choices.
And so we're riding down the road, and he's asking me all these questions like, so you're engaged? I was like, yeah. Who's your fiance? I was telling him about him. And then I'm talking about her family, Tab's family, just like he's an Episcopal priest, and, mother-in-law, and talking about my family. And then he starts sharing, like, do you know anything about Jesus? Like, I was like, yeah, I grew up Catholic. I know everything. Like, Catholics know it all.
Yeah.
I remember making that joke with him. And he continues to kind of share the gospel in a way, honestly, still the same way I share it. Just very casually talking about it. And then at some point, if you hear him tell his side of the story, he says I was very rude. And I said, what are you, a preacher or something? Kind of thing. He's like, no, I'm a pilot. Like, at that time he was in the military. And I was like, oh, okay, whatever. So we get to the border, getting into the line to go back over because he's going to take me to the hotel. And then while we're in line, we're talking. And I see the guys I came in with. They're in the other line coming back into the States. So therefore, I'm like, oh, they're right there. And so I jump out of the truck real quick, start waving at them. And if you know anything about the border, they tell you to get back in your car really quick.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, crap, I got to get back to the border. So I just kind of yelled at them like, hey, wait for us over there. So go through the border, come back around. And so we pull up next to him. And the guy I was with, he drove this big black Dodge truck. And so I got out. I said, hey. And he was like, where the hell were you? Like, I was like, man. I was like, I don't know. I think I was in church this morning, but give me a second. And he's like, what? Just get in the truck. I was like, I got to finish this conversation. And I'm like, why am I having this conversation right now? But why do I feel compelled to have it, right? And so I jumped back in the little truck with him, and we're talking. He's like, look. He's like, you'll probably get in your truck with your friends. And he said, you might make it home, you might not. Y'all are all hungover and probably still drunk. And he said something kind of funny like that. And he said, I'm going to write my name and number on this card. And he said, I'm going to pray with you right now. And he said, I don't know if you want to do that, but I'm going to just do it kind of thing. And he said, because when you get home, you're going to think none of this happened. He said, you're going to start thinking this was a dream. And I'm like, okay, whatever. He'll do the thing. He gets out. I throw my bag in the other truck. He gets out and he meets the two guys that are in the truck.
Yep.
And then he prays for them. Mm-hmm. And their faces, I still see their faces to this day.
Like, what the hell is going on
right now? Mm-hmm. And, the guy who was driving, he's just looking at me like, what is this guy doing? And so I jump in the truck. We start heading back. And the whole time I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I've lied. I've done all this. I've got to tell the truth. And through my prayers, I started to pray in those moments and kind of like, and my prayers have always been like just talking to God. It's like, and even in those days when you don't have a lot of faith or a lot of relationship, there is still a crying out that happens.
Right,
And
because you had a foundation.
Yeah, but I feel just compelled to like tell you the complete truth.
Yes.
It was the first time I had this such a heavy laid on my shoulders of like, you have to tell the truth, right? And get home. I don't know, it's late, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, we finally get home. And get home, and you see my face, because you've always seen my face.
Oh, you almost walk in the door. The only way I could describe is the way Kramer does on Seinfeld. It was, it was like, oh, whoa. Hi.
I'm home.
But you were like so anxious to tell me, but your face looked a mix of worried and excitement at the same time. And I'm like thinking to myself, what the hell am I about to hear?
Yeah. And then drop my bag, the bag I've been holding on to like for dear life. And
you stink.
I stink, and I tell you, I'm just, because I'm wearing the clothes from the day before still. And so I'm like, Tab, I got to tell you something. You're not going to believe this. I was in church this morning. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm telling you everything about him. Telling this guy I met. You're looking at me like, whatever. You take your ring off at some point.
Yeah, so you tell me everything. And I'm nodding in disbelief. And I'm thinking, he's going to tell me he did all these drugs and drinking, but then he thinks it's going to soften it because he ended up in church this morning, you know? I'm like, who does he think I am? Because one, I'm thinking, I gave you like 2 simple rules. Please don't do coke. You did it. And please don't get so drunk you don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
You did it, you know? And then you end up in this church, which I am finding like so hard to believe. It's not lost on me that it's called Club 180. But one thing, and this is why I think he's lying to me, because I ask him, what was the guy's name? Because I'm like, let's see what he tells me, you know? And he says, Cliff Wilson. And I look at him with so much disgust in my face. And I'm like, well, now I know you're lying to me. And he's like, what? I'm not lying to you. And I'm like, Gerald, you just used the name Cliff Wilson. Well, Gerald's looking at me confused as all get out why I'm so upset about the name Cliff Wilson. So what y'all don't know is for the past 2 to 3 weeks before he went on this trip, he would prank call me at work because I'm in insurance. And he would call me and be like, I'm going to need an insurance quote. My name is Cliff Wilson. And that's the name he used for 2 to 3 weeks before this trip. And when I tell him that, he almost goes white. Like, oh my gosh. And I could see like, okay, he's not lying to me, right? But I'm still like in disbelief.
Yeah, because you're like, a guy named Cliff
you're
Wilson?
like, oh my God. And you're like, I think that was his name.
Maybe I was still
And he was
high.
like, he goes, maybe I'm making that up. Maybe. And so he goes, he gave me a card. And he hands me the card.
I had to run out to the car.
Yeah.
I had to dig it out of my bag.
It was in your bag. You dug it out of your bag. You were like frantically
digging
digging for this freaking card like your life depends on it, which it kind of does.
It did.
And, but so when I'm asking you this, and when you had said the name Cliff Wilson is when I took my ring off, because I was like, you're lying. And I took my ring off and said, I'm not marrying a man who participates in these kind of activities, because I've already told you I don't like hard drugs. I don't like being so drunk you don't know what's going on in your life. And I've already told you I am not going to marry someone like my biological father. I refuse to do that. So this is when he's digging for that card frantically. He's got tears welling up in his eyes trying to find this card. And he hands me the card. And sure enough, on the back, Cliff Wilson with his phone number. And I just sit and stare at him in silence. And he's like, looking at me and goes, can I take a shower? Yeah. He goes, can I take a shower? And I'm like, please do. Like, you stink. And I'm disgusted at this point. And I
remember in the shower, I'm like, thanks, she's not going to be there when I get out of the shower.
And my heart is pounding out of my chest because 1, I'm livid. 2, I'm like, I cannot marry someone like my biological dad. I absolutely refuse. So I call my mom and I tell her about it. And she's like, call Cliff. Check the story out. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to call Cliff and check the story out. So I call Cliff. And he confirms every single detail that Gerald has just... And I then, at this moment, have goosebumps. So Gerald's taking an exceptionally long shower because I know he's dreading coming out of it, right? But I now have goosebumps because I now know that God had already ordained this. I now know that God was using Cliff Wilson's name 2 to 3 weeks ahead of a time for Gerald to use as prank calls towards me so that I would know this name. This was already God saying, Cliff Wilson is going to change your life.
Yeah.
So I call Cliff, obviously. He confirms everything. It's a very short conversation. I just want to get the facts. And but Cliff says, Gerald loves you. I can't remember exactly. He told me that you loved me, that you talked incredibly about me. And I'm trying to remember the words. Maybe something like, don't give up on him, or like he was very excited to come and tell you. I don't know. I don't remember.
Yeah, it was just more or less, I remember that since he's shared his side of the story, a lot of times he'll share that. He'll say that whenever I was with him, I was just like talking about like, yeah, this isn't really what I want to do. This is not really what I want to do in my life. I have a great wife or a great fiance at home and different things like that.
Yes, he said something about you being conflicted. Yeah. He feels like this was a meeting by God. So I think there was no coincidences with the name Cliff Wilson. No coincidences that the club was called Club 180.
Oh, yeah.
0 coincidences that the sermon was on life choices in hell, right? Mm-hmm. And then 0 coincidences that Cliff is the one that's going to take you back to the border and that those friends were coming back at the same exact time. God had this so perfectly orchestrated. It's literally mind-boggling when you think of it. Mm-hmm. So Gerald gets out of the shower and he gets out and I could tell he's shocked to see me sitting in the living room with a smile on my face. He's like, what is that smile? And he's like stuttering, right? And I'm like, I called Cliff. And he's like, what? I said, I called Cliff. I talked to Cliff. He was like, and I'm telling the truth, right? And I said, you are. And then that's when we had to have like some real like conversation, long talk, and him saying like, I want to do better. I don't know how this is going to look. I don't know. But if you stick by my side, I'll try. And I'm like, I'll try with you. I would like to say we started church and stuff, but that's not how it went. That really isn't how we went. We actually got married first, actually.
And we'll kind of go into that next.
So we'll go that next time.
Yeah.
But that is where that story ends. It's pretty cool that the way God met Gerald literally hungover, or he met God really for the first time of like getting a hold of his life and the steps that were already in motion before he even got invited to that trip. Because you were using Cliff's name before you were even invited to that trip. Because I think I only had like a couple days or maybe a week's notice that you were going. I'm not even sure.
Well, I think that's where, we can close it up there, but it's just thinking about, when I think about that story, and I think about just, again, how we interacted with it and how it all kind of occurred. It's like, if you think about it, God uses every moment. Like, God knows that you're not ready for certain things. It's kind of like, I always go back to the woman on the well, right? He's just having a conversation with her. That woman's not ready to go sit at a synagogue and pray or do anything. Like, she's still in some deep stuff, right?
Right.
She's trying to understand things. And I think that's where God was like, God really protected me in a lot of areas of my life when I'm involved in a lot of those activities. But in those moments, it was like these small things I would get shown. And this was like, it's the pinnacle of my faith journey, because it's the first time that I have something that happened that didn't really need to occur. And it hit on so many different levels. And then plus having the confirmation there of like, because there is a moment you're thinking like, I made all this up in my head. I don't think this really happened. Because every Christian goes through it. I mean, everybody who falls away from God, think about it, is there's a moment where they're just like, I don't think all those things God did in my life were really from God. Now they're just whatever.
Right.
For me, I was just after God so much. I didn't know it. Just like you said, I was on that boundary of being an atheist, but it was more or less like I had all my chips on the table spiritually with God. I was just like, it's either going to be this or I'm throwing it all away.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do it.
You were actively seeking, which is what I saw and what both of my parents saw in you.
Yeah.
They actually, along the way, so we're praying for Gerald this whole time, right? To know Jesus. We are not forcing him to, which is why I'm not actively forcing us to go to church. But we are all praying together and individually over Gerald and for God to meet him in ways that are undeniable. So these are also our prayers coming to fruition. And my parents always said, we like him because he asks questions and he's seeking. Every time I was with my parents, he would ask deep questions about faith. And that was always extremely encouraging to my parents. And I was able to share with him that night that he came home and told me everything. And that we had been praying. And these are literally answered prayers. So it was very deep conversation in the end. And I remember your face being in awe of like, wait, y'all have been praying for me? For God to speak to me in a way that I couldn't deny? And I kind of think that may be one of your first realizations that others were praying for you and that prayers were being answered.
Yeah, I think so too, because growing up, we grew up praying for everybody else. And I know that sounds kind of weird, but you just never really thought about it, that people would just be praying for me to know God.
Yes.
Like usually it's very surface level, like get a job, but no, the pinnacle, like I need you to know God.
Like I need you to know God, and also that God sees you. He goes before you. He has these plans for you. And I genuinely think that encounter like shaped your life. That's literally why your first book is called Sobering Faith. It literally starts out and it's all based around that particular encounter. And so we'll wrap it up here, obviously, because there's so much more that goes into this, because we would like to say that he just did a complete 180 that day.
Yeah.
But he didn't. And we actually have to go through a lot more.
Hopefully this encourages people to just keep praying for those that seemingly are completely lost, or just keep pursuing some people that you feel called to.
Pray for those that you feel like you can't have conversations with, because I'll tell you this, me nor my parents never once pushed Jesus or church on Gerald. We just actively lived it out. My parents lived it out more than I did, obviously, because I was still participating in things. But I also was an example of not participating in some things and constantly sharing about my faith. I didn't care if you believed it or not.
Yeah.
I was who I was, and that didn't bother me, because I knew you would come to know Jesus one day, because I knew God would answer our prayers. Like that was never a doubt in my mind. So don't give up on those you love, those that you feel are lost or have fallen away from the word, or those that have never even heard of it. Pray. Prayer is the most powerful thing that you can do.
That's right.
So thanks so much for listening.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next week. Thanks so much for listening to I Still Do. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. We'd also love to hear from you, so if you have any questions or even a story you'd like to share with us to get our advice on, please feel free to send us an email at geraldandtabby@istilldopodcast.com. Until next time, keep choosing love and each other, because we still do.